Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, with our season preview series now done, we're going to be looking ahead to now some prediction videos over the upcoming week. Today we're starting off with bold predictions. I'm looking at all 16 teams in the Western Conference and giving a bold prediction for each and every team. We'll get to all 16 teams and my bold predictions for them coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming in the very near future. So last year, I actually did a video similar to this. I only did the Western Conference. I took the Eastern Conference video, but I never got around to posting it. So I'm hoping to get both of these videos out before the start of the season. So today we're going to be looking at the Western Conference. So we're going to go through the Central Division and the Pacific Division alphabetically. I'm going to be giving you one bold prediction I have personally for each team in the Western Conference I think could possibly happen this year. So once again, we're going to start in the Central Division with the Chicago Blackhawks. Now you could do bold predictions about Connor Bedard hitting 100 points, or like I've seen a couple of recent people say Sam Renzel maybe is a Calder Cup finalist. But I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction here. I'm going to say that even though the Blackhawks are going to be one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the entire NHL, Spencer Knight will get Vezina votes. That is about to be how good Spencer Knight is about to be this year. I think Knight is poised for an extreme bounce back season. He's the clear-cut starter. He's going to be in a fantastic position to do some really good damage with the Blackhawks. Like I said, I think the Blackhawks are going to be one of the worst teams in the entire NHL. So I don't think he's going to have an overly great win-loss record, but I think save percentage-wise, goals against-wise, he's going to be a lot better than a lot of people think. And he's going to keep the Blackhawks in a whole bunch of games that a lot of people do not expect them to be in. So at this point in time, my bold prediction for the Chicago Blackhawks is that Spencer Knight, maybe he won't be a Vezina finalist, but he will at the very least get Vezina votes this upcoming season. So that's my bold prediction for Chicago. For the Avalanche, you could go in a variety of different ways with guys like Landeskog, Nichushkin. You've got a couple of other guys that you could do bold predictions about, but I'm going to do one for the entire team. The Colorado Avalanche, for the first time in, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, will miss the playoffs. Yes, that's my bold prediction for the Avalanche. I do not have the Avalanche at this point in time being a playoff team. I know a lot of people have them being like a top 10 team in the NHL, being a playoff lock. I don't expect that. I think their depth is weak. I think that they have a pretty solid forward group, not the worst of defenses in the world, also have a pretty good goalie tandem, but at this point in time, I just cannot see the Avalanche as a playoff team. My bold prediction for the Avalanche is that they missed the playoffs for the first time in a long time. So that's my bold prediction for Colorado. My bold prediction for Dallas is with a player, and it's with Wyatt Johnston. With now Rantanen potentially playing on his wing for an entire season like he was in the postseason, I'm going to say Wyatt Johnston has a 90-plus point season this upcoming season. I think Johnston, who's been able to increase his point totals ever since he got into the league, like I think he started with like 40 points, then he got up to I think like 50 or 60 points. Last year he hit 71. I think he's going to even take it a step further, and he's going to hit 90-plus points this upcoming season, especially if the Dallas Stars placed Mikko Rantanen with Wyatt Johnston on the forward group. Like if that's a duo that starts in the regular season, that's going to be a scary duo to face, and it's going to lead Johnston to have a career level season, and I could even see him hit triple digits. So that's my bold prediction for Dallas. Johnston hits 90-plus points. My bold prediction for the Minnesota Wild is another interesting one. Not only do I have the Minnesota Wild winning the Central Division and finally winning a playoff round for the first time in over 10 years, I have the Minnesota Wild, as my bold prediction, winning the Stanley Cup. I think personally this team might, under the radar, be one of the best teams in the league and the best team in the Central Division. I think at this point in time they are a bit better than Dallas and Colorado. I think goaltending wise, pretty solid goaltending tandem. I think Wallsted's poised for a big breakout season. Defensive wise, gotta have one of the best defenses in the entire NHL, and now that Kaprizov's signed, that's no longer a looming problem for them. They're going to have one of the best offensive seasons, in my opinion, in Minnesota Wild history. So in my opinion, I think the Minnesota Wild are going to have a stellar season, win the Central Division, but my bold prediction for them is they will win the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history. So that's my bold prediction for the Minnesota Wild. My bold prediction for the Nashville Predators is that they will move at least one of their 3 big veterans on their team, not Forsberg, but Stamkos, Marchessault, or O'Reilly. They will move at least one of those 3 guys by the NHL trade deadline. So I think that with the Predators, they're not going going to be a playoff team again this year. Very likely chance to move off a couple of pieces, but I don't think they're just going to move lower end pending UFAs, such as guys like Bunting or some of those other lower end UFAs. They're going to go and move one of those big name players, Stamkos, Marchessault, or O'Reilly, who have multiple years left on their deals and are all making $4+ million. I think one of those three are going to be moved by Nashville. That's my bold prediction for the Preds. My bold prediction for the St. Louis Blues is that Jimmy Snuggerud will be a Calder Cup finalist. I know a lot of people are talking about Ivan Demidov, and are talking about Zeev Buim, and are talking about Ryan Leonard, and I can agree with that. Those are going to be some really good Calder Cup favorites and going to have some pretty good seasons. But I think a guy who's under the radar is Jimmy Snuggerud. He had a really solid finish the last year after signing his ELC with St. Louis. He looks really good. He's going to most likely be a top 6 player, and if he gets minutes with guys like Pavel Buchnevich, Jordan Kyrou, or Robert Thomas, this guy's going to have an insane point total if he can stay healthy throughout the entire of the season. I think Snuggerud, playing with those guys, could hit 20 to 25 goals and could be like a 50 to 60, maybe could even push like a 70-point player. I think he's a little bit of an under the radar Calder Cup finalist candidate, but that's my bold prediction for the St. Louis Blues, is that Snuggerud is a Calder Cup finalist. My bold prediction for the Utah Mammoths is that they not only make the playoffs for the first time in their franchise's history, but they win a round for the first time in their franchise history. We've seen that even with the last 2 expansion teams. Vegas, first year, wound up winning a couple of rounds and getting to the Stanley Cup final, but even Seattle, who hasn't had a whole bunch of playoff success, their second year in the NHL, they got 100 points and they took down the defending Cup champs in the Colorado Avalanche. I'm expecting a similar season to that second year in Seattle with Utah. I think they could easily hit triple digits. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a top 3 team in the Central, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't only make the playoffs, but they won a round in the playoffs. So that's my bold prediction for the Utah Mammoth. They not only make the playoffs, but they win a round. My bold prediction for the Winnipeg Jets is that Jonathan Toews will stay relatively healthy throughout the entirety of the regular season and will be able to hit 50+ points this year. So I think Toews, after being out of the league the entirety of last year due to injuries, will have a fantastic bounce back season and be poised to be an extremely lethal guy on the Winnipeg Jets team, hitting 50+ points. So that's my bold predictions for the Central Division teams. Going over to the Pacific Division teams, my first bold prediction is with the Anaheim Ducks. I currently have the Anaheim Ducks as my bold prediction for them making the playoffs. This might come as a little bit of a surprise to some people, but I think they did enough in the offseason that they're going to edge out a couple of teams, including a team like the Avalanche, to make the second wildcard spots in the Western Conference and end their, 7-8 year playoff drought. I think the Ducks are poised to take a massive step forward and make the playoffs. I wouldn't be one bit surprised if they were able to potentially challenge a team like Los Angeles for like a top 3 spot in the Pacific. I think they're going to have a better season than most people think. And my bold prediction for the Ducks is that they make the playoffs. My bold prediction for the Calgary Flames is that they will move Rasmus Andersson in season to another team for the equivalency of 2 first-round picks. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to get 2 first-round picks. It could be a first-round pick and a former first-round pick level talent. It could be a first-round pick and a really solid prospect. It could be a first-round pick and a solid NHL level player who has the value of a first-round pick. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I do think Rasmus Andersson, who has a very lucky chance to get moved in season, very lucky chance to get dealt at some point, I think will be moved at some point, probably closer to trade deadline. But I think the Flames will be able to get a really solid return, getting the equivalence of 2 first-round picks back in a Rasmus Andersson deal. I just think that's how much of a value the other teams will be putting on Rasmus Andersson. So that's the Calgary Flames bold prediction. Andersson will be dealt in season for the equivalent of 2 first-round picks. My bold prediction for the Edmonton Oilers is that by the end of the 2026 playoffs, so by the time the Stanley Cup has been handed out in June next year, the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid will not have come to terms on a contract extension. Now, that's not to say that Connor McDavid won't re-sign with the Edmonton Oilers. That's not to say that Connor McDavid will hit free agency. I don't know. But I'm just going to say that my bold prediction for the Oilers is that by the time the Stanley Cup has been handed out, the Oilers and McDavid will not have a contract in place. That is my bold prediction for the Edmonton Oilers. My bold prediction for the Los Angeles Kings is for the first time since they won the Stanley Cup all those years back in 2014, they will be able to make it out of round 1. They've lost 4 straight years to the Edmonton Oilers, and before that they had a long layoff where they missed the playoffs, and even before that, after they won the Stanley Cup, they had a couple of early first round exits. But for the first time in a long time, in Kopitar's last season as a Los Angeles King before he retires, the LA LA Kings will wind up making a second round playoff appearance for the first time in over 11 seasons. So I think it's a long time coming, but I definitely think my bold prediction for the Los Angeles Kings is that this year they exercise their own demons and they are able to make it past round one. So that's my bold prediction for the Kings. My bold prediction for the San Jose Sharks is that during the season they will move at least 3 defensemen in trades. Now I'm not sure if that's pending UFAs like Klingberg, like Liljegren, like Ferraro, or if that's guys who have some term, like a guy like Dmitry Orlov, or if that's some of the younger players like Mukko Hamidulin or a guy like Sam Dickinson. Like, I'm not exactly sure who they're going to move, but I think the Sharks will move at least 3 players on the blue line by the trade deadline in trades. So I definitely think that's a potential for the San Jose Sharks, given how many blue liners are on expiring deals in the Sharks organization. So that's my opinion on the Sharks bold predictions. They'll move at least 3 blue liners by this year's trade deadline. The Seattle Kraken, I also have another bold prediction for them. As for them, my bold prediction is Jamie Oleksiak will be moved for a first-round pick at the NHL's trade deadline. I definitely think that the Kraken are a good team. They're definitely going to be selling at this year's trade deadline, and I think with the amount of teams that are going to be interested in looking for a top 4 defenseman, there's going to be a team or two out there who are going to pay the Seattle Kraken a first-round pick to acquire Jamie Oleksiak, and I think that's a very likely possibility for Seattle Kraken to be able to move Jamie Oleksiak in a trade for an equivalent of a first-round pick or potentially even a first-round pick. I think it's a very likely possibility for the Seattle Kraken, so that's my bold prediction for them. My bold prediction for the Vancouver Canucks is that Elias Pettersson bounces back after a subpar season where he had just over 40 points. I have Pettersson bouncing back in a big way. I have him at least being a point-per-game player. I think Pettersson is poised for a big season after a subpar season last year. I don't think he'll be exactly for sure be able to hit the triple-digit mark again, but I definitely think he's going to take a big step in the right direction and be back to 80-plus point territory. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee he hits triple digits, but I definitely think a point per game is very doable for Pettersson, so that's why my bold prediction for the Canucks is that Pettersson has 80-plus points this upcoming season. And my bold prediction for the Vegas Golden Knights, the last team we're going to talk about here, I could go with Mitch Marner, I could go with the Vegas Golden Knights in general, but I'm going to go that the Vegas Golden Knights bold prediction is this: Pavel Dorofeyev becomes one of the first Golden Knights in recent memory to break the 40-goal plateau. Dorofeyev last year had 35-goal season. It was a little bit of an anomaly because at that point he hasn't really been an overly huge producer on the Golden Knights team, but in a contract year with a team who just added Mitch Marner, I think Marner and Dorofeyev could play a lot. I think Dorofeyev is going to show that last year was not a fluke and that he can score 40 goals. And I think that's my bold prediction for the Vegas Golden Knights. Dorofeyev will be a 40-goal scorer this upcoming regular season. So that's my opinion on the Western Conference, and those are my bold predictions. Just to recap, for the Hawks, Knight will get Vezina votes. For the Avs, they will miss the playoffs. For the Stars, Johnston hits 90-plus points. For the Wild, they win the Stanley Cup. For the Predators, they will move one of Stamkos, Marchessault, or O'Reilly. For the Blues, they will have Jimmy Snuggerud be a Calder Cup finalist. For Utah, they will not only make the playoffs, but win around. For the Jets, Taves will hit 50-plus points. For the Ducks, they will make the playoffs for the first time in 7 or 8 years. For the Flames, they will move Andersson for the equivalent of 2 first-round picks. For the Oilers, Connor McDavid and the Oilers will not have a contract extension in place by the time the Stanley Cup is awarded. For the Los Angeles Kings, they will win their first playoff round in over 11 seasons. For the San Jose Sharks, they will move at least 3 blue liners by the trade deadline. For the Seattle Kraken, they will move Jamie Oleksiak for a first-round pick. For the Vancouver Canucks, Elias Pettersson will hit 80-plus points and be a point-per-game forward. And for the Vegas Golden Knights, Pavel Dorofeyev will be a 40-plus goal scorer this upcoming season. So those are my bold predictions for the Western Conference. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you agree with any of my bold predictions? Do you disagree with them? And if you have to do bold predictions for the Western Conference for this upcoming season, what would your bold predictions be? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. That is all I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video and for to subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to stay tuned for videos coming in the very near future. I also have a blog talking about news, numbers, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I've linked that in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.